Hey guys, it's Sam, and welcome back for another episode of Black Desert Online. The year 2020 will be forever etched out in our minds, and not so much in a good way. It's the time when the world stopped and affected us all. Well, maybe less so for you guys, as I'm pretty sure you've been practicing quarantine and social distancing since you were born.
I was made for this.
But anyway, the real world might have taken a pause, but it is completely opposite in the game that we are all playing. And as we go towards 2021, let's take a look first of all the updates in Black Desert this year. Alright, without further ado, let's go directly to the reason why you are watching this video. Let's start with a pretty long event which is related to the current pandemic, which is the Oasis Event. So since the start of the quarantine period, Oasis Event was implemented, which removes all desert sickness in the game. The Oasis Event also gives Oasis boxes daily, which has a chance to give some amazing accessories. And most importantly, Ellie, the Oasis NPC, sells tri-boss gear equivalent gears, cron meals, compass, and maps for an amazing deal of 1 silver each. Get it while it lasts. The next event we have are the season server. So far we have 2 seasons done already, which lasted for around 3 months each, and the 3rd season, which is the winter season, just started last week. So, Season Server is another catch-up mechanic implemented by Pearl Abyss, which lets you create 1 character per season in order to enter the Season Server. Now, I'm not saying that this is only for beginners, as Season Servers are also a great thing for veterans to create new alts in order to have either gear backups for pen roulette attempts, or just to experience the excitement of grinding on those old spots you haven't been to of late. This also gives you a lot of free fail stacks for a very cheap price. Explaining what this season event would take too much time, to be honest, so I will just give the list of its benefits. If you want to learn more about it, I have linked down the description below where you can read more info for it. So first, Season Server has XP increase, and this time without the level 60 limit that Olvia's channel has. However, Season characters cannot equip regular equipment like boss gears, so players in these servers will start at equal level, well at least during the very start of the season. Now, since it cannot equip regular equipment, then you might be asking what equipment can we use then? Well, no worries, a Season Server drops some items like the Tovala ore to make Tovala armors, which will be your main gear of your season character. The stats of the Tovala equipment is just 1 grade lower to your boss gears, and thus, a pen Tovala equipment is already equivalent to that boss gear. But then, people are like, getting pen is an impossible task. No worries though, as aside from having higher chances to enhance Tovala gears, the enhancement and repair materials are a lot more, and I say a lot more, plenty, provided you at least do the weekly quest and take some time grinding in season servers. At the end of the season, you can exchange 1 pen Tovala equipment to a Tat boss gear, which is enhanceable to pen if you do have the materials, while the rest of the Tovala equipment will stay with you and will now be usable to all your characters. And that's the gist of it. Again, if you want to learn more, just check on the link below. Now with that out of the way, let's go to some additional contents of the game. The first one is the Papua Crinea, the Papu and the Otter 1000-year war. This is a new island located in Kamasilv, which has, you guess it, Papu and Otter inhabitants. You can transform to one of the race and do some quest and party gameplays here. Heck, you can even kinda feel the traditional tank support DPS in some of the activities in the island, which you can never find anywhere else in the game. The next one is the Crow's Nest, Pit of Undying. This is a PvE update in BDO, which lets you challenge a lot more intelligent monsters with some needed mechanics not seen on other usual grinding spots. Moving on to the additional areas for the game, we have the Ash Forest this year, which is a new grinding spot located south of Star's End. Unlike most new spots, it is for higher gear players to challenge. And of course, the major expansion update this year, the Arid Lands of Odyllita. Before actually this major expansion was released, the Kamasilvia questline has been updated, making it more personal and has pointed the story towards this new land. Aside from the new grinding zones and towns, I for one love this update as it gives so much lore to the game. You can learn more about the major gods and antagonists in this promised land of the Ahib, from Zarka to Belmorn, the goddess Sylvia, and the god of darkness. It is so full of stories that I highly recommend to read it if you have time. And speaking of lore and stories, guys, this year I actually started my BDO lore videos If you are interested to learn more about the world of BDO but hate reading through the quest, I have linked down the description below for the lore playlist, which I am planning to continue up to next year. I'm pretty proud of it, though it's taking a lot of time in order to make one, so show some love, guys. Okay, so let's talk about the classes this year. The very first class update we've got is the release of the Succession on all classes in BDO. Well, except for Shy and Archer, of course. This actually started last year and was completed by the end of the first quarter this year. So basically, we had before the Awakening kit, which lets you use new weapon and completely change the gameplay of the classes. But with the Succession update, it lets you continue using your main weapon and just improve the damage and effects of your original skills. And well, of course, you can still switch between the two freely. I actually have a trick which should pop up above that lets you switch between Awakening and Succession anytime you want. So better check that one out. So aside from the Succession classes, we also have 3 additional classes this year. Yes, 3 new freaking classes this year, which is for me is quite a lot. I'm not complaining as I do enjoy playing each of the classes, but maybe PA should have spaced them farther in between release just so have more time balancing each of the current classes. But anyway, this year we have the Guardian, the Hashashin, and the Nova. The Guardian is a fierce Viking barbarian which turns to Fairy Goddess at Awakening. Very great in PvE, I must say. The second one is the very rare male class, which is the Hashashin, giving you the Prince of Persia, Sons of Time vibes. Like, literally, he can summon and teleport to sunstorms he created. At Awakening, he got the dual glaives, making him a human helicopter and make him summon the Sun Snakes. And lastly, the newest class just released is the Nova, the last heir of the Calfian royalty. He uses a tower shield that puts Valkyrie's Awakening shield in shame. She's the opposite of the fire type Guardian as she has ice effects on her skills. And as she is a princess, or at least that's what the storage keeper of Calfian is thinking, she has guards ready at her disposal. No Awakening yet for now, which we will be keeping an eye next year. So all in all, we now have a total of 21 classes, in which you can create 22 characters now thanks to Season. But so again, there is the usual class balances for better or for worse. So who are the winners and losers of these balances in 2020? Well, the winners for this year includes Valkyrie. From being the wheelchair class, well, she is still actually in a wheelchair, the Succession Valkyrie gives amazing boost to this class, giving her a lot more protection not seen on her Awakening kit while dealing crazy damage. While she still has the protective area and 3 heals that makes her the ultimate paladin class. Nova doesn't really have a heal, at least for now, so I can't say she's the paladin here. Aside from that, she also has a pretty quick burst. Some even say she moves like a Kunoichi at the hands of a great players. Not me, obviously. Another winner is of course the Warrior. He has been pretty balanced most of his time, and this year, both his Awakening and Succession kit has been amazing and brimming with openness. Warrior and Valkyrie getting buffs? Well, that is still a better love story than Twilight. And well, speaking of love story, Witches and Wizards as usual has taken again another spotlight this year with their Succession kit. They have been pretty up there since the beginning of time though, so I won't really dig much deeper about them. But lastly, the unlikely champion this year is none other than the Striker, at least his Succession kit. He's not that effective in low AP, but so far this year, Striker has been the best grinder in the best spots in game, bar none. He's very combo heavy, like playing Tekken in BDO, but very much worth it. Now, I'm not saying that the other classes are worse or these 3 or 5 classes are better than everyone else. I'm just giving an opinion on which classes has taken the spotlight this year in terms of buff on its abilities. But of course, if there are winners, so are losers too. The first one we have is the Ranger. Well, again, not much of a news if you've been following BDO for a long time. Well, amazingly, Ranger's Succession became one of the best when it was first released last year, but the greater the buff, the greater it has fallen. The split damage in its AoE skills are bad news, plus some protections has been removed. Not to mention she has difficulty hitting its skills in a non-flat terrain. making it sometimes annoying to grind. The second one is, well, she's not really that much of a loser as she don't have the PvP capability since the start, but the Shy class, or race, did not have much happenings this year. Aside from the novelty music creation thingy, she did not got succession skills nor a buff in both her basic skills and talent tree. I saw some rants in Reddit which most of his remarks, as rare as it is actually pretty valid. So yeah, PA, show some love for Shy next year. And lastly, a small update for Awakening skill kit, which is the core skills, giving additional effects on your Awakening skill of your choosing like Super Armor and Frontal Guard, CC effects, etc, etc. The skill add-ons has also been remade. Now you can have a lot more choices what additional effects you want for each of your skills. Alright, we're now done with the classes. Let's talk about the new adventure logs this year. So first we have the Book of Margahan, which gives Aggress Fever at the end. So this is yet again an amazing thing as it gives increase of trash loot by up to 150%. You can even pair it with Yellow Loot Scroll, which gives you a total of 250% increase in trash loot. It is simply a must-have to get as soon as possible. The second one is the Book of Dore Morgrim, which by exchanging duo boss gears gives +1 AP and DP, and some other stamina and HP additions. The third one is the Book of the Immortal Alchemist Capras, which, guess what, gives Capra Stones. Amazing. And the last one is the Journal of Pavino Greco, which gives 600 HP in total after spending around 2 billion worth of items. Alright, our next topic is the PvP changes this year, particularly the Node Wars. Now, it was mentioned in the last Calphion Ball that Node War is again going to be updated, but for now, it was already updated by reducing around 30% of the total number of nodes available for war. This gives more chances that multiple guilds will actually compete in each of the node, and reduce the possibility of node sniping. Aside from that, the prices and durability of forts and annexes are adjusted depending on the node tiers. Cheaper items for T1 and much more expensive items for T4. Aside from Node Wars, Siege War is also revamped a bit. Max HP bonus for all participants is significantly increased from mere 500 to an amazing 5,000. No more one-hit KO skills, while the owners of the castle will have the bonus HP decreased by 500 for each week they are holding it. And of course, this year marks the start of the cross-server Conquest Wars. At the moment, C vs Thailand server is done, followed by Korea vs Taiwan or HK server. We expect more coming next year, especially with PA taking over NA server, for better or for worse yet again. Then lastly, guilds has been updated in which advisor rank has been added, which can basically act as a sub-GM and use most of the skills except disbanding the guild. Okay, now that's done, let's talk about the boss updates. This year, the field bosses has been updated and gives better rewards. Just about time. Then, Zarka, Karanda, and Nuver has a chance to evolve into Nightmare Zarka, Bloodstorm Nuver, and Stormbringer Karanda. These evolved forms of Zarka and Nuver gives a box that has a chance to up to that boss equipment, while Stormbringer Karanda can drop Karanda's heart, which will give 1 crystal slot on your awakening weapon. And speaking of crystal slot in awakening weapon, Garmuth, the mother of dragon's attack pattern has been redone and no longer have the long ass animation in which he or she interact with the statues. While Garmuth's heart on the other hand not only can be used for offhand weapon, but it can also be used for awakening weapon, which gives not only 1 but 2 crystal slots in it. Quite a huge gear upgrade if you can get one. Now let's go to the new items or equipment this year. First, we have the awakening weapon buff, which changes the plus human damage to damage to all species. The additional damage is also increased depending on the enhancement level. The next one released is the Blackstar Armor and Blackstar Helmet, while Blackstar Awakening Weapon is slated to be released soon. Then we also have the best armor in-game released, which is the Dead God Armor, requiring a Capra Stand Pen Red Nose or Dim3 to make. Finally, something that makes Red Nose armor attractive again. Another update is also the release of the Infinite Potions. It is a treasure item that requires hundreds of hours to complete, or maybe a few minutes if RNGesus is with you. Once you get one, say no more on having no pots at all, as this potion can be used forever and automatically refills itself. Then aside from the new treasure item, an old treasure item was also updated, which was the all-forgotten Rich Merchant Ring. Before, this item gives increased chance to win a bid, but with the new marketplace, the bidding system was removed, making it obsolete. Now the Rich Merchant Ring gives decreased tax in marketplace, thus giving you higher income in selling items, although I'm not even sure if anyone at all even got this treasure item. Up next is the way to get Garmut's Heart. With it being very in demand due to having Awakening Weapon upgrade, Garmut's Heart can now be obtained by collecting 400 Nuver intact skill. Still not an easy task to do, but something you will surely get if you just consistently do world bosses. Now let's talk about quality of life improvements. On top of our list is the skill presets, which lets you save the presets of skills. Again, we have some tips and tricks on this one found in the video description below. Then we have the Familia Inventory, which can be accessed by all your characters in the same account. Mostly are just consumables though, but it is still a great addition. The third one is the favorite of many who still does enhancing, which is the Nadir's Band. Basically, it lets you save fail stacks that can be used anytime by all your characters. Beyond 100 FS though, and it will require a 10-minute cooldown. A new addition is also the most awaited copy gear mechanics. Utilizing the character tagging, players can now tag and copy their main character gear to use it to the tag character. The drawback however is that the stronger the equipment, the more expensive it will need to copy the gear. Then we have the usual drawbacks of tag character, like not being able to fast travel and etc. etc. Then we can now restore most of the deleted items if you accidentally put them to the trash bin. On to the next update, which are more to life skills. We have the addition of T6 horses in the wild. Aside from that, you can now rent horses to other players. For those who are very attached to their horses and can't sell them in the marketplace, then they can just rent them out for some extra income. And lastly, of course, the first T10 horse is finally out, which is the mythical Ardunaut. Next year, we will have other T10 in which one can run in the ocean, for goodness. Then, cooking and alchemy byproducts has also been simplified and will only result to witch delicacies and mysterious catalyst. It is a bit of a nerf though, but at least you can directly choose what to exchange on those byproducts. We also have some grinding spots revamp. This is true for Schultzgard, which was just a worse sans before. Then Traitor's Graveyard is also added in Hex's Sanctuary, requiring now a 160 AP in a less than 100 AP zone. Then Padex Island is also revamped and now needs 270 AP. Now going to some cash shop items, we now have the Artisan Memory Multiplier from 4 to 5. The Secret Book of Old Moon is also added, which gives combat, life, and skill XP bonus. When it's active, you can also reset all your skills, use Villa buff Intense without invitation, and expand stable and wharf slots. And lastly, some minor updates which includes the cabin rooms for Eferia Carax, and well, bartering nerf, which mostly affecting heavy barters as resets is reduced from 4 to 3, although this time around Karak is way easier to get as you can now choose to reset and get all Karak materials instead. Naval Fame was also added, which reduced PK in the seas, although planned updates next year might improve on that, and piracy might just become a thing here. A new stage in Red Battlefield is also added, which is the Garmut's Nest. Now the Mother of Dragons will come from time to time to breathe fire while you are battling. Music composition and playing for Shai is also added, which is basically her novelty skill. And last is the addition of mythical fishes, which if completed will summon Vel, and will get that particular fisherman his own NPC in-game. But it did took 2 years in Korea to obtain all mythical fishes though. I wonder when will we ever see one completed in our servers. And I guess that's it. At least those are the major updates this year 2020. If I had missed out some things, please do say in the comment section below. And well, hope to see you still next year. See you guys, peace!
Yes, some things never change, like how I'm holding on tight to you.